Hello everyone, good afternoon and welcome back to day 2 of theCUBE's live coverage of UiPath Fusion here in Las Vegas. I'm your host, Rebecca Knight, along with Dave Vellante, my co-host and analyst. We have 2 great guests for this next segment. I'd like to welcome Alex Jackson, partner at Deloitte Touche. Alex, welcome.
Thank you.
And Misa Rawlins, managing director at Deloitte Consulting. Thank you so much for coming on.
Yes.
So Deloitte needs no introduction. It's obviously the world's largest professional services firm, 500,000 employees across 150 countries.
Yep.
And I want to hear about your agentic journey. So talk a little bit about how you even approached this idea of an agentic future at Deloitte.
Yeah, happy to. So yes, we're a very large organization. We've got a lot of people operating in a lot of different countries. Like any big organization, we've got a big global shared services center, and we've got a heritage of long-standing relationship with UiPath. A lot of automation as kind of a foundation to things, but as we look into the agentic world and where you can go with that, we really took an approach that cut across leadership down to the folks on the ground who are actually doing the work, and then looking, as Misa will talk about what we do in the marketplace, but what we do internally, what we do in the marketplace, there should be a mirror between the two. So we started with leadership because nothing is going to happen without leadership being behind it and everybody knowing that leadership's behind it. So very clear that AI is a strategic priority. Agentic is where the world of AI is going, and particularly when it comes to business processes and getting things done. Everybody was challenged to have an AI strategy. They had to say how would they operate, how would they work in the world of AI. And then we started thinking through how does everybody get up to speed with all this, because there's so much going on, it's changing so fast. And that's when we, if you pivot to the folks on the ground, the folks who are doing the work, real mass enablement, and just general kind of, this is what AI is, this is what agentic is, this is what it isn't. So we did that for all of our practitioners. And then at the folks who were building the automations, historically, we got, we partnered with UiPath to upskill those into the agentic world, which was really, really good. It was get your hands dirty, build agents, not just this is agentic and now you know what you're doing. It's so it was we had calls with a couple of hundred people on multiple time zones to get everybody in, and so that really helped get I would say the juices flowing. And then from a leadership perspective, we held executive briefings, and again from a product perspective, we have the luxury of many tech vendor relationships. UiPath obviously being one of those, an important one, and we had UiPath leadership educating on the product vision, how their platform may fit in, to people's strategies. And then the Deloitte transforming Deloitte side of things, as we do things for our clients and we advise our clients who are asking the exact same questions, what do we do? What do we do internally was always the lens of things. So that's how we approached it.
So lots to unpack there.
Yeah.
But why don't we start, Misa, with, can you kind of outline your specific role?
My role?
Yes.
So I am a managing director that focuses on delivery. So I deliver the capabilities, solutions for our clients. Whether it's helping them design an end-to-end solution, or coming up with a ERP solution, because that's kind of where I focus a lot, which is why UiPath has been so amazing for us, because it's really helped us. So that's kind of what my focus and my aspirations have been at Deloitte.
From the standpoint of like the traditional RPA business, right? You're saying, or
well, so
that's what you're saying?
I'm delivering. So whether we're implementing an ERP system for our clients, whether we're designing solutions for them, we're incorporating the agentic pieces, and whether it's automations or agentic AI agents into the solutions for our clients.
Okay, but I'm sorry. So the RPA, I mean the agentic is new. The sort of previous automations.
Yes.
What's your history with the company? It sounds like it's been a while, because you said ERP and you tied ERP and UiPath together.
Yes.
So I wanted to start there, like what that journey looked like and how it's sort of evolved into agentic.
Oh my goodness, yes, absolutely. So I've been doing this for about 25 years now. As you can imagine, 25 years ago, we had very manual mindsets of whether it's getting paper invoices, whether it's clicking a button and having individual people review things, right? As we evolve and as we deliver for our clients, the technology has grown just vastly. And so we are now having to incorporate that, but we also need to be educated on it so that we can deliver that to our clients. But now you are having your automation. So it started with RPAs a few years ago. Now we're seeing Agentic and what Agentic brings to the table, right? Through agents, now they can help you think. They can help do the analysis. So that's what we're seeing as it evolves now.
So I'm curious as we proceed in this discussion, how much we should allocate to Agentic inside of Deloitte and Agentic outside of Deloitte.
But it sounds as though they are completely interrelated.
Well, I mean, Alex brings the inside and I bring the outside as far as we work with our different clients.
So do you start inside and bring it outside, or you do outside in, or
I would say it's
in parallel?
I would say it's
like GPU speeds.
It's a fantastic question. You can't talk about one without talking about the other. So you take examples of, we're a huge SAP shop internally. We also have a huge SAP practice advising clients and helping them implement, upgrade, etc. So when we think about how we're transforming what we do and how we deliver for clients, we naturally would then look internally and how do we think about that for ourselves. Likewise, if we're doing something internally that has broader applicability for our clients, then it's a two-way street.
So let's start with the business, because your business has changed quite dramatically over the years, and like you said, Misa, it was very labor intensive before.
Yes.
Not that it isn't, not that brain power and humans aren't important, they're vital.
Absolutely.
But as you automate, a lot of the things that you got paid for in the past have been automated away. So you have to shift your business to higher value activities. How has that transformation occurred, and I want to ask what role Agentic has played. It may be too early, but what role do you envision Agentic playing as you guys do your planning?
Do you want to start, Alex, or?
Yeah, I mean, I think the same is true both internally. You have cost pressures around what does it take to run our business, on the OpEx side, as it is externally. When we think about clients, they want efficient, effective, smart advice. They don't necessarily want a room full of people hanging on a call anymore, right? So there's, I'd say we have definitely focused both internally and externally around the delivery of programs because, to your point, Dave, it was very, very people heavy and everyone taking notes, and how do you deliver with the capabilities of the technology that we've got.
And super high value. I mean, the business process, efforts that went on in the 80s and 90s were well worth, the high price and high value. And then, okay, we did that. Now we got to implement ERP.
Yeah.
Okay, that was expensive and time consuming. Okay, we did that. We're extracting value out of it now. Our stock price is going up, where productivity is going up. Okay, what's next? And so there's in your business, there's always another wave.
Absolutely.
That's the beauty of the services business.
Yeah.
It's not software economics, but you're always there at the hot places.
And I think you hit on a really key point. You said shift, and I will tell you that it has been a true cultural shift just within the consulting firm, right? And how we deliver to our clients. We had to have a different mindset. When we think about AI, it's not just about just throwing AI and saying, oh, it's embedded. It's actually transforming our business solutions, right? And how we actually think about AI and how it enhances the business, or where does it make sense to implement AI so that it reduces some of the pain points that our clients see from a day-to-day perspective, but also, right, take away some of the manual efforts. So to your point, we can leverage that time with our resources, with our team members to do more thought leadership things, or allow them to actually, use that time to create vision versus putting more time into having to worry about manual efforts. And so that's what we're seeing.
And just to add on to that, I would say we can talk about the people on the Deloitte side of the fence, but we have clients, and we have, internally, you have the internal client. And the amount of time it took for them, the way that things used to be done, the amount of time that's coming out of their day job, if it's a systems implementation or whatever else, that's a huge time commitment. So to be able to reduce it for them as well as just another lever of value when you think about transforming delivery with AI, with automation, etc.
So this is so fascinating to me, what you're talking about, both of you, in terms of the change management piece. And Risa, you said it required a real shift in mindset. Can we drill down on what exactly what you're talking about there, in terms of how people approach this new era, but just also how they do their day-to-day work?
Yes, absolutely. So for us, it was, we knew that we had to develop new autonomous business solutions for our clients. And so there are 3 core areas that we really focused on. One was around AI enhanced delivery. And what I mean by that is, as a consulting firm, we are now delivering for our clients. And so we need to be faster. We need to be more efficient. We need to think about how we can bring our accelerators. So one of the things that we've done, we have a platform called Ascend at Deloitte, and we enabled some of the UiPath automations, as well as the Agentic intelligent agents. And we've now figured out ways to be faster on how we deliver, whether it's automating our testing capability with our clients, or bringing data over from legacy source systems into the new systems. Now we've really built autonomous solutions around that, right, using UiPath. That's helped cut down cost, it's helped be more efficient in timeline, and reduce risk, right? The second area is around just bring offerings, smart finance, for example, or agentic ERP, right? And being able to bring that solution to our clients to help reduce some of the human interactions where it's not necessary, so that they can use that those skills in different ways. And then lastly is building more industry-specific AI solutions. So our clients are trying to figure out, how do we apply all of this into our industry, into our solutions. And so we've thought through, like, for example, utilities, and coming up with more agentic solutions around the grids, or for public sector, how do we build agentic solutions around inventory fulfillment. So those are the things that we're thinking through with our customers, and they are loving it because they don't know where to start, and that's what we have to bring to the table.
So you've AI-ified Ascend, essentially.
We have. Love it.
Understanding.
Absolutely.
And I'm curious, so if I think about just simplifying it, the hardware, software, and services business, software, we know marginal economics at volume goes to zero, notwithstanding cloud COGS. Hardware, you've got to bend metal and buy GPUs or CPUs, and so you've got some limit in terms of your economic leverage. Services oftentimes has diseconomies of scale. The bigger you get, and that's been a challenge in your business throughout, and you figure out ways to be more productive as you grow. Will AI sort of change the economics of the services and consulting business, in that you might take a revenue hit but be substantially more profitable because of automation? Or is it that the value that you're delivering is so accelerated that both of those things will happen? How do you think about that?
I guess we can give our perspectives, which are take them for what they want.
Your views are your own.
There's no answer there, but it does inform sort of how you price your products, who you hire.
Absolutely.
I think pricing is really important. When you think of the traditional services, it's kind of people is the basis for pricing. How much effort it's going to take, and that factors in the price. When you've got a heavier technology component, that kind of disconnects that how do we price. So we've thought a lot about outcome-based pricing, which was talked about on stage yesterday, and how do we align the value we believe we can bring to a client with how they're paying us. And that, again, in theory, we should be able to maintain the margins that we enjoy, whether we can increase them or not.
Because
our clients will always push us to be as effective as we can with with fees, but yeah,
and you're more motivated,
right.
because you've got some skin in the game.
We've got skin in the game, exactly.
Yeah.
That's the point, Rebecca.
Yeah.
So because, I mean, productivity we all get.
Yes.
Productivity
Yeah,
goes
sure.
up, that's cool. But there's another angle here with AI, and Jensen's been pushing this, which is his mantra is buy more, make more, right? Or buy more, save more. And the point being, if you buy the next generation, if you're a cloud operator or something, you'll be able to monetize more. I would imagine there's a similar dynamic in your business and, by extension, your client's business. So this is, maybe I'm overstating it, but it feels like there's a whole new dynamic in play here that Agentic is going to power.
I mean, this is why I say, listen, as you know, it's extremely competitive now, right? And with AI, it doesn't lessen that pressure on us. So we have to be more flexible, agile. We have to think differently. Our clients are also on the same pressures, if you think about it from their industry standpoint, where there's competition on their side as well. So they have to be able to scale up and scale down. They have to have information at their fingertips quicker than before, right? Before we would go run a report, we would probably go to lunch, have a coffee break, come back, it's still running. We would have the information at the end of the day. Now they're expecting our CFOs, our CIOs, our CEO to be able to make decisions quickly. So that pressure doesn't go away, and from our standpoint, the competitiveness doesn't go away either. We have to be able to bring solutions, we have to be able to do it quicker and more efficient for them in a more costly way.
It sort of answers, I was going to ask you how you differentiate, because it is very competitive in your business, and you've got hundreds of thousands of employees. And you remember Daniel Denne's original vision was like a bot in every pot, I used to call it, a bot for every employee. And now each of your knowledge workers is going to have multiple agents, at least one agent, but multiple agents.
Absolutely.
And according to Jensen, a GPU, that's their dedicated GPU. So there's real value there, and it's an unlock because of all the knowledge you have. So is that how you see yourselves competing in this AI era?
I think that it's a great point. I mean, is everybody educated enough to work with multiple agents and know that you could do a project quicker by a couple of months if you spun up a handful more agents, and can you manage them? Can you do that effectively like you would normally throw bodies at a problem? Can you throw agents at a problem? So I think we still, from an operating model perspective, it's still quite new, but that is definitely going to be, I think, where things will go.
And I think some of your competitors will compete on the allure of labor arbitrage, and that maybe there's some of that in your business.
Right.
But I think Deloitte is more, value generating focused than the labor arbitrage piece of it. So that's a competitive differentiator. You're not alone there.
Yeah. And just to piggyback off of what you just said, right? That's the other differentiator. We talked about competition. We talked about how we're, on the thrones of making sure that we can deliver efficiently. But it's not just about that. It's also being able to bring that value-based outcome, right? Our customers want to understand, what does that mean? How does bringing agents in make sense? Can I tie it to the value, right? Because you could add agents all over the place, but if it doesn't bring the true outcome, or it's not tied to value, or it's not tied to a financial metric, then it might not make any sense. So you have to be able to have those conversations as well. And I think that's one of the things that Deloitte brings best to our customers.
Yeah, because you have such strong understanding and tight relationships with your clients, you can be proactive and say, oh, by the way, if you do this, it's going to give you, significant operating leverage, or there's a new revenue opportunity.
Absolutely.
Because you have an intimate knowledge of your clients' businesses.
Yeah. One of the other things you said, Risa, is that it's really freed up your consultants' time, that they can do more thought leadership, more strategizing, have more vision. You're also helping your clients realize those same abilities in their workers too. Can you describe a little bit about that process in terms of how you freed up time and how it's changed how people spend their time at work?
Yeah.
And then also how you then educate clients to help their workers do the same.
I'll say from our side, one of the things that we want to do is we want to look at an end-to-end process. So what I mean by that is, one of the things that Deloitte brings to the table is that multidisciplinary team, tax, industry experts, consulting, advisory, all of these things. And what our clients are looking for, they don't look at things by system. They look at it from an end-to-end business process. And so one of the things that we sit down and do is we want to look at an end-to-end business process and really capture where we can agentify the process, make it more efficient, help our clients make tough decisions on if they have a reduction in headcount requirement, or if they need to upskill resources, because now some of the agents have taken some of the manual operations, if you will, over. How do we do that? And so we really spend a lot more time doing that, but it's more of an agile approach now. We're bringing things to their systems live quicker. We're able to get them activated quicker. And so those are some of the things that, it's not about just the traditional long, I want to spend 2 years just to do this implementation. Now we're having more of a sprint and more agile approach to bringing value to them quicker.
Excellent.
So we talked about the business model and pricing a little bit, and a little bit on the technical model for sure. We're talking about, we haven't dug into it deeply, but I'm sure there's a big conversation we could have about data, getting your data ready. Mm-hmm. But I'm curious as to the operational model that changes, because now it's humans managing agents. How does that change the operational model for Deloitte and your customers?
Yeah, do you want me, I can take.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, so I mean, that is I think the biggest thing in all of this. There's wonderful technology that's going to be deployed, but it's still a human story at the end of the day, and it is reconfiguring how we do work. And so there's elements of internally kind of what we do, whether that's the back office, whether that's service delivery, where that's going to completely change. And some of that already has. Misa's talked about some of that stuff already. And so we are still, I think we're still feeling through what does learning and development look like? What do people do if they're not doing that stuff that maybe was not the most fun stuff in the world, but that was how we thought about how people got trained. So I think we're still on that journey to work it out, candidly, but there is definitely a recognition that even just leverage models and everything will change. How we hire, all these things are going to be impacted because the technology is as powerful as it is.
Yeah, I mean, Mark Benioff's famous for that article in the Wall Street Journal where the last generation of managers to manage humans only will be managing humans plus agents. And when you ask people, well, what does that mean?
Right.
It's not clear what it means. I mean, I guess it means part of our job is to empower people to participate in that kind of world and give them the tools.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of unknown there. It's exciting, actually.
Yeah,
well,
it is.
And simply said, I would say that AI agents is a part of your team now.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And the human in the loop aspect of things is, it can differ. It could be an oversight. It could be a part of a bigger team. I mean, it's going to change how our operating models look like in the future.
Where were we? A couple of weeks ago we were out here. It was CrowdStrike.
CrowdStrike,
and they said that they have customers that give their agents an employee number.
Absolutely, why not?
Yeah, why not? Right.
Yeah, but that is going to be the tricky thing is, what's your HR department for agents look like? And are managers good at managing a team of people and agents? You could be a great people manager, but maybe you haven't teched yourself up enough to be a good agent manager. So the learning and development is going to be really interesting.
It is a learning curve.
And the review process will definitely be different, I mean, on the one hand, it's like, oh wow, this is going to be a lot easier. On the other hand, you might not uncover blind spots when the employee's giving you pushback and saying, hey, as a manager, you need to be thinking about X, Y, and Z. If the agent doesn't give you that feedback, but AI is probably smart enough that it will.
Yeah,
at some point.
we need those 360 reviews on all ends.
It's definitely a balance, but then, again, I mean, our agents don't have to take PTO. They can work longer hours. But I think this is where I think how we go to market is also shifting too, right? I mean, when we think about our clients, their consumers want more. The way that they receive data, the way that they receive information, how they purchase their products, all of that's changing. And so they need, our client meaning needs to be more innovative, and so now they can leverage their team, their resources, the thought leadership, the vision that I was talking about, to apply it towards that so that they're not losing market space, right? And that's what we're seeing.
Exciting. Misa, Alex, thank you both so much for coming on the show.
Thank you, thanks for having us.
Stay tuned for more of theCUBE's live coverage of UiPath Fusion. I'm Rebecca Knight for Dave Vellante. You're watching theCUBE, the leader in enterprise tech news and analysis.